All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by the lovely Nina Dobrev. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you were on the show a couple years back.
Probably more longer than that.
Yeah,
I would
ago.
say 3+.
Yeah.
I was going to say pre-COVID or post-COVID?
Pre-COVID, yeah. So definitely over 3.
Which feels just like a whole other lifetime. We were in the Sirius studio. We were not here. So we are very thankful you came to our studio today.
Of course. I'm so happy to be here.
We're super excited. You have a new movie coming out, The Outlaws, Netflix, which is great. How excited are you for the movie? Tell us about your character.
Yeah, so you mentioned already, it's called The Outlaws. It is a Netflix movie, and my character's name is Parker. She's a yoga instructor. She's got a lot of tattoos. She's very free-spirited, and she is engaged to be married to Owen is the character name, but Adam Devine plays that role. And Owen has never met her parents, and they last minute surprise her and tell her that they're coming to their wedding. And what she doesn't know is that her parents are outlaws. They are criminals, and the reason why she doesn't see them a lot is because they're running from the law. So it gets really crazy. It's an action-packed comedy, and Richard Kine's in it, who's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And I mean, the whole rest of the cast: Julie Hargitay, what's his name? I'm blanking right now.
Pierce Brosnan.
I already said. Did I not say his name?
No.
I didn't say his name.
Your parents.
How did I miss Papa?
I was gonna say your parents are
yes,
Pierce Brosnan and Ellen Barkin.
Yeah,
right? Yes,
Ellen Barkin's my mom, and then Pierce Brosnan is Papa, or Daddy, and they're so fun, and I had the best time shooting this movie, and it turned out great. I think it's like a really fun. I think people are really gonna like it.
Yeah, this is a good like you said, action summer comedy. He's so funny, Adam Devine. I think like he's so good at that like kind of slapstick humor that fits so well.
It's
for
a Adam Sandler produced movie, so it's that he's like a little baby Adam. Adam.
Was Adam Sandler around? Did you guys get to work with him?
I've met him. I've hung with him, and he's lovely. He's so funny, and so just like regular, normal guy. Like I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Where did you guys shoot the movie?
We shot it in Atlanta.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many projects that are done in Atlanta. I know that people in the biz know that. Like it's like people know that, but I feel like a lot of people on the outside don't realize how much is actually produced and made in Atlanta.
Almost all the Marvel movies are shot in Atlanta.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They have a big studio there. That's like their studio. And when I shot there for Vampire Diaries a long, long time ago, we were one of the first to sort of like go to Atlanta, and the city has changed so much, and obviously like so many productions have started shooting there now, and I definitely went back thinking that it would be like the same energy, and it's just changed so much. But I love it there, and the crews are amazing. Everyone works so hard. They're like very professional, and they've got it all down. So it's really fun to be there.
That's awesome.
Have you worked with Adam before?
I have, yeah. Back in, I think it was maybe between 2013 and 15. I don't know the exact year. It was a bit of a blur. It was in my 20s, and the whole cast was really young. So, like I said, it was a bit of a blur. But we shot this movie called Final Girls, Adam and I. That's where we met for the second time. The first time we met, it was either like the MTV Movie Awards or the Teen Choice Awards. He like photobombed me on a red carpet.
Sounds about right?
Fits right into the comedy realm.
Yeah.
I love when you talk about your early 20s and just like being with other young actors and partying and all that, because you did
I didn't say partying. You said
I said partying, but you said partying.
I may have implied partying, but I didn't say those words.
W Magazine ASMR, which like I love ASMR, so I've seen like the W Magazine interviews, and you told such a great story about being young on set of Vampire Diaries and celebrating your 21st birthday.
Oh yeah.
And you did like everybody went to Vegas and you came back. I feel like you just had so much fun growing up like in the industry, but also surrounded by other young actors as well.
Well, what was great about it is that because of the Atlanta thing that I was telling you about, we had a chance to actually grow up somewhat normal considering that we were on like a pretty big hit show.
Yeah.
We weren't in LA or New York where there was paparazzi and big events and distractions, and we still did things, and I'd say got into a little bit of trouble, but like nobody really knew about it.
Yeah.
We were kids, but we weren't like plagued by the scrutiny that you sometimes get on other things, which I think was really great. And we got to live normal-ish lives despite all of that.
Yeah.
It's a huge
Still got
plus.
to do some of like the normal 21st, all those like
I mean,
the normal
Vegas is
birthdays.
different. That was
but
very
even-
much in the spotlight, but
Yes, well, but big celebrations or even small celebrations.
Yeah.
you can do, which is
we
nice.
grew up in the spotlight whilst outside of the spotlight. Yeah,
Like you got to do your job, but then have a little separation from it.
totally.
Which is very cool.
What you find out that Pierce Brosnan is playing your dad? What's your reaction?
I was really excited, of
Yeah.
course. Are you kidding? He's Bond.
James Bond. Yeah, I know. It's very cool. And I know they made a little joke, and it's in the trailer, so I know I'm not giving anything away, but I know that they kind of made a little joke about him being Bond too, and which one is that one, and it's very cute, but he just seems like the coolest guy.
He's so sweet, and he's so, I don't want to say posh, but like,
He's British.
he's chic. He's chic. Yes, he's very lovely and sweet and wonderful to work with and funny and all the things that you wish your parents were.
Yeah.
And so I got to have that, and I threatened my dad. I was like, "You better stay in line, man, because I got a backup, and he's
He's ready to
Bond.
go.
Okay, Bond's my backup, daddy."
What's funny when I think about him, I think of Mamma Mia, which is
I-
just
well,
so
that's why
opposite
is-
of Bond.
That was why when he did Mamma Mia, it was like, oh, he can do everything.
He could do
Like,
it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's it like when you get the opportunity to do like a Netflix film? Because I feel like as a working actor, getting to be on a streaming platform, I feel like that's not the goal, but you always want that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to do it a few times now, and I'm collaborating with them again on something that I'm producing coming up, which has not been announced. But yeah, it's a great family to be a part of, and they are extremely generous, and shooting with them is fun because, it's like a well-oiled machine, and you know where it's going to land, and you know that there's a viewership, you know that people are going to watch, and the whole point of making things, you spend so much time and energy and blood, sweat, and tears making something that you want it to be seen, and so that's baked into Netflix. You know that there's going to be an audience, which is really exciting.
How exciting is it to get to produce something of your own? Like really just hands-on?
It's cool. It's really cool. It can be frustrating because it takes so long. Like this is the one I was telling you about. I think we've been working on it for 3 years, and it's not even like
Announced.
No, exactly.
Right.
I have some things that I've been producing for over 7 years. One thing that tonight is actually premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival.
That's awesome.
That I produced. I'm not in it. It's a documentary called The League. And so, yeah, it's just been a roller coaster and a learning curve because it's new for me. And I directed something that I produced, and that's a whole other beast. But it is great to be a part of something from its inception and really be able to influence what it becomes. And it's a different experience when you are hired for a job that you then later, you do your part and then you leave and then you just pray and hope that it goes well and that it becomes the movie that you signed up for, but you don't really know until you show up at the premiere.
Were you always interested in more of like the behind the camera stuff, or was it until you got into acting that you thought, oh, like the producing, directing, that would be cool?
I don't think I think I think Vampire Diaries was the first time I sort of realized I wanted to also be behind the camera because I spent so much time on set, and I wasn't one of those people that just sort of like was idly standing by. I was friends with the crew. I talked to the grips and the electrics and the camera guys, and I asked questions like, how do you do this? Like, why do you choose this lens? Like, how? I was just very inquisitive, and I would often find myself, like I would hear them talk. There'd be an issue on set, and they'd be like, I don't know, like, what do we do? And I'd be like, well, obviously do this. I would, I was sort of nosy too in a lot of ways, but I had solutions. And so it was frustrating to be on that side at that point, and I wanted to be more hands-on. And so it was exciting to get to do it for the first time.
What's it like when you're producing or directing, more so producing, and you have like conflicting ideas with somebody else on the team, right? Because everybody has their own idea and like the way they think is the right way to do something. How do you handle that when you feel so strongly about something?
As an actor or as
a producer?
It's tough. I mean, it's a lot of, luckily, now I'm better at communication. I don't know that I was when I was younger, but it's a lot of compromise in communication and sort of explaining why you think a certain thing. And at the end of the day, I mean, at least I can speak for myself. When I was the first thing I directed, I remember walking onto the set and just sort of announcing to the crew, I was like, this is really exciting. Thank you for being here. But also, I asked you here for a reason. It's because you were the best at what you do. I can't do what you do. I'm not a sound operator. I'm not a makeup artist. I'm not I trust you guys to do your jobs, and I'm very open to collaborating, and I want this to be like a family environment. I want everyone to feel like they have ownership over it, and I want it to be great. So as much as I have these ideas and I have a vision that is very clear and concise and I know what I want, I'm open to hearing other people's ideas, because together I believe we can make it even better, because somebody else's idea might be better than mine. And I just haven't thought of it. So
I think that's a great outlook.
Yeah, and people were empowered to actually have a voice, and they did have great ideas, and I think it turned out that much better because of it. So
when did acting really come into your life? Like, were you young and thought that this is what you always wanted to do, or did you have I wanted to be a doctor?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't know it was a profession.
Okay.
For a really long time, an embarrassingly long time. Keep in mind,
you started so young too.
Well, I'm an immigrant.
Okay.
Let's start there. Yeah. So none of my family does this or is in this industry. I thought I was obsessed with Angelina Jolie and action movies, because I have a brother and a dad, and they love that. So that's what we watch at home. And she's so perfect and symmetrical and otherworldly that I didn't think she was a real human. I thought she was an action figure. This is obviously when I was really young. I would watch the movie and think that she was like a doll, like a life-size doll that however they shot movies.
You were ahead of the times. AI.
Right. Watching Tomb Raider, you're like, this person is fake.
I basically thought that there was a cage that they put actors in, and then they would they would take them out of the cage, put them on set, they would do the scene, and they put them back in the set for the night, and then the next day do it all over again.
They were so naive for that.
And just didn't understand. And so obviously as I got a little bit older, I started to realize that I was like, oh, this is a job. I could do this. But also I was a bit of a troublemaker and liked messing with people and liked creating characters. And my mom tells a story about when we were traveling somewhere in Europe on a train, and she fell asleep, and when she woke up I just wasn't there anymore, and she freaked out and thought that she lost me. I was little. And then she went a couple carts down and found me speaking to a stranger in a British accent. And I had come up with this elaborate storyline of who I was and why I was here without a parent, and the person believed me.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was just sort of in my nature to do things like that and be other people. I don't know if it was trauma that I was trying to escape from.
I'll be anybody else.
Still trying to figure that out with my therapist. But I just kind of naturally was just creating characters my whole life. And then I eventually found out that you could make a living doing it. And so I pursued it.
How did Degrassi come into your life?
Degrassi came into my...
It's a long time ago.
Yeah. It's way too long ago. I don't even remember. I had a agent through, I went to a performing arts high school, and at the school there was a theater program, and to answer your earlier question, that's kind of the moment when
you realized
I figured out that you could make a living out of it. As a part of the theater and musical theater program, they had a guest speaker who was an on-camera acting coach come talk to our class. His name was Dean Armstrong, and he, after the class, I can't remember if I went up to him or he came up to me, but I expressed interest in pursuing it more and learning more about this on-camera thing. And I started taking classes with him. he introduced me to my agent, and Degrassi was one of the first first one of 3 or 4 auditions I went on. And I don't think I got the role that I auditioned for, but then they wrote a character for me.
You.
Yeah.
That's as good as it gets, I think, when they say, "Hey, we're gonna make a character."
I really hope that's true. By the way, it was so like it's vague. There's some sort of vague something.
Yes.
I really hope that whoever's watching, they're like, "Wait, no, that's not what happened."
In your story, they're like, they liked me so much they wrote something for me. Degrassi was the best though, and it's so weird to think about because now you can go back and watch all the old seasons, and I think I even watched like. After it was on, they'd play it on like Teen Nick, but the other Teen Nick, like there were 2 different Nickelodeons.
It was a different network in Canada. So I really have no idea.
Right. Did Degrassi feel as big at the time when you were on it, or did you start hearing about it more after you were on it?
I think, I mean, obviously in Canada, it was like a legacy show. So I knew that it was a big deal, but similar to the thing that I was telling you about in Atlanta, like it's not like we were being followed around in Toronto. No, it was, we also shot in like a suburb far away from everything. It was, I think the moment I realized how big it was when I got to the States. Yeah. It's a lot more popular here and more, or at least people are more vocal about it here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because it was such a wild show. It was like,
it was very ahead of its time, for sure.
It really was. It was like Euphoria, basically, but
before,
but not
in
on
Canada.
HBO.
And you can't really compare it to Euphoria at all right now.
No,
but
obviously a lot different. But like there was just so like you couldn't believe what was happening on every show. I was like, this doesn't happen in my high school or my school, but it's happening in Canada.
So good. And I do think like TikTok has been such a crazy phenomenon for these older shows because people go and rewatch or they do podcasts about it or they make videos about it. Like the amount of it comes and goes, but like I have probably gone through Vampire Diaries start to finish like 5 or 6 times.
Oh my goodness.
And every single time I do that, my phone knows somehow, right? Like it always knows. So my TikTok is always like people talking about the show or like, I'm showing my boyfriend the show for the first time and they film him watching it. Have you ever seen any of those of people rewatching or just like freaking out about the show now still?
Yeah, I mean, I just recently got TikTok last year and I feel like I see a lot of that stuff a lot more and obviously it gets catered to me. Like you said,
exactly. They know.
They know.
Are you like, this is me? Like, do you watch
they
or
know
do you
exactly
keep
who you
scrolling?
It just depends. Also, I have friends that will like send me things, so I see some of it for sure. But I remember when I first got on, there was this trend where they were like, "Hide your videos. She's on TikTok now. She can see it." And I was like, "What are they talking about?
Yeah, right.
What are they like? Is there something happening on here that I should be aware of?" But,
oh my gosh! Well, now we see that they do, and we see tons of videos from them. Also, these conventions and fans get to come out and. So much of the cast gets together, and there was one that went so viral because they were announcing, I believe, your involvement in something down the line or at the end of the year.
Yeah, I haven't been a part of one for over a decade because I've been shooting and busy, but I'm gonna go to my first one in almost over 10 years.
Right, so they like put your face up on the screen and the crowd
I saw that
lost
video.
it.
I did see that video.
They were screaming bloody murder. They were so excited. So how excited are you to like get back into doing that and seeing those fans?
I mean, if the reaction is anything like it was in that video, I'm excited and kind of scared.
Yeah, right. Super fair.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are you nervous at all?
No, I'm just joking.
No, it seems like that would be such a fun way to get together and see everybody still. And
yeah, I mean, it's crazy because like you guys mentioned, between TikTok and the pandemic, I mean, the show was on Netflix during the pandemic. So people had nothing to do but watch TV. And so whether it was people rewatching, like you said, or like, because I was wearing masks the whole pandemic and I felt like I was getting recognized on the street and in life way more than years prior. And I realized that like a whole generation of people who maybe missed it the first time watched it now as though it was on the air currently.
Yeah.
So it got like a whole revamp, which was wild. Yeah.
Which I think we keep seeing with shows like that. And like Fran said with TikTok, it's like people once there's a craze that happens, then everybody jumps in.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
That's definitely one of them. You mentioned you are very busy. You are traveling all the time. You just said you got back from Greece. You just love to travel.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, who doesn't? But I feel like you are traveling everywhere.
Yeah, I have a pretty busy. I have a lot of points on the airlines. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, for sure. I love it. I love seeing the world. I love immersing myself in different cultures, meeting new people. It's there's nothing like it, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to pick, but do you have like a favorite, an all-time favorite?
That is really hard to pick. I have like a top 5 to 10. How about that?
I would love to hear a top 5.
Okay.
Or 10. Give us all recommendations.
Cape Town, South Africa is really high on the list, but also because of the safari, going on safari and seeing the animals and just being immersed in the nature once you're there. To just be clear, the safari is not in Cape Town. You have to go somewhere else for that, for those of you who don't know. And then there's Bali is incredible because it's like just very salt of the earth, like bohemian energy, beaches, beautiful people. It's like, oh, I love it there. Except I went backpacking in Bali by myself in my 20s and was so excited, and it was super last minute trip. And the part that I was like, oh, I'll meet people when I get there. Yeah. The part that I hadn't considered at the time was that like everyone's there on their honeymoon. Yeah, right. So like nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody. So it took me a few days to like find a group, but then I eventually did, and it was great.
Is Bali tummy a real thing?
What do you mean?
Like I see that everywhere. That might also just be a TikTok thing.
Bali
they call
what?
it Bali tummy.
Bali tummy?
Bali tummy.
Yeah, Bali tummy.
It was a long time ago. I don't remember. Probably, getting sick because of the water.
People say because it seems like such a beautiful place, but then you have all the people, obviously, because there's too much information on the internet sometimes. Yeah, and you're like, I'd love to go to Bali, and then they're like, watch out for Bali tummy.
Yeah, and
they just don't want you to enjoy good things.
And I was gonna say, I feel like that's one way.
To deter people?
Yeah, to deter people from going to like the most beautiful place on earth.
Right, because it's so nice. They're like, stay away.
Yeah, no, I love it there. I thought it was great. I don't remember being sick there. Yeah. But a monkey bit me, so I did end up in the hospital.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I loved them.
Yeah, it was so really great cute. Experience.
Worth it. Totally worth it.
Great story, though.
It was a great story. But the only bummer was I had to have like not a cat. He didn't break anything, but I broke my skin. Ooh. And so I had to get my rabies shot and then also have it wrapped up, and I couldn't go in the water so I had to like swim with one arm up.
Yeah.
Kind of cooler than getting bit by a shark.
Because just one arm, really good arm workout on one side. Just to always have that arm up. Yes, exactly. Your shoulder is just shredded on the side. But you're also always traveling with like these groups of friends, and I feel like we see on social media, it just looks like so much fun. We joked, I mean, this was months ago now, but we had Zoe summer. Deutsch in the studio, and we were saying, we were like, these trips you guys are going on look absolutely incredible.
Extravagant.
It's just like, how do you, I guess this is more just of managing friendships when you have that level of fame. Like, how do you find your group of people that you feel comfortable enough with to really share those personal experiences with?
Yeah, I mean, I've known Zoe for so many years. Our friendship has just been, she's always down to do anything, and I'm kind of the same. And so, when that trip came up, I was shooting a movie in Greece. So I lived in Greece for 4 months. And at the end of the trip, I had to go to the Cannes Film Festival, and she was also going. So I was like, oh, while you're here, we'll do this. And what if we went to the Monaco Grand Prix? Because we just watched Drive to Survive. We were obsessed with Formula One racing. And so we just added that one. And then we were like, oh, but there's this thing. We just kept on dreaming big and just being like, what if we? And then what we didn't realize is that both Zoe and I are very type A. We love a plan and we love organizing things. We're so... and so between the two of us, our dreams just turned into a real thing. And then we suddenly just didn't come home for 2 months. It just was an oopsie trip that turned into a crazy life adventure. And I don't know, she's just so funny and deep, and we have great conversations, and she's very low maintenance, and I don't know, I think the world of her, and we had the best time.
Yeah.
And another thing is that, neither one of us have kids yet.
Right.
And I feel like as you
yeah.
get older, the list of people in your friend group that you can invite places last minute on a trip gets smaller and smaller.
That is true.
So, yeah.
Well, it looked incredible, and everybody
you.
on the outside looking in was like, we all wish we could be a part of that.
Yeah, I think like every couple was like, "You got room for one more couple? We're available.
We swear we're fun.
We're totally available." But back to like, you know, we're joking. You said you just been on TikTok recently. Sean's on TikTok and is very funny. I feel like, I feel like he has had viral posts like joking about watching Vampire Diaries or like things like that he hasn't done before. Does he run by some of those ideas by you, or is he kind of like just posting on his own?
No, he's I mean, I think like there was one.
You know the one I'm talking about? It was a while ago, but I feel like it was so popular of him, like people asking him about watching, if you watched the show.
He's done a couple though. I don't remember which one you're talking about.
I feel like there was a few where he had said because he was doing Q&As and people were like, "Have you watched Vampire Diaries?" And he's like,
well, yeah, he had. I mean,
Yes.
I was shooting a movie in Canada during the pandemic when you weren't allowed to like fly over the borders.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's when he decided to watch it, to sort of like feel like he was still with
He
me.
was like, I miss you so much. I'm watching Vampire
Yeah.
Diaries.
I don't know if that works.
I don't know how healthy that was for him.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to watch that.
Yeah, I don't think he knew before he started watching it that my characters on the show like hook up with all the other characters on the show.
Yeah. And you also like come back as like 3 different characters.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
so
you
that's
have,
what I'm saying. Between all of the characters, they like were a love interest to like, everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's very funny. What's next on your travel calendar? Like, what do you have planned for the summer?
so much. Yeah, I have a lot. There's a July 4th thing that we're doing with some friends. I don't like talking about where I'm going next.
Oh no, you don't have to.
very
No,
fair.
we agree on that. But you just,
It's not safe.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're all beautiful places.
yeah. Some of them are just like more mellow, like cabin lake stuff,
yeah.
and then some are. I'm going to a Formula One race this summer somewhere again, and then, was supposed to shoot a movie, but with the writer's strike, that's been put on hold. Shout out to the WGA, support you. And
I saw you on the front line with your picket on your Instagram. It's important.
We did it a couple times before I came to New York and before I left for the trip. But I think it's super important. It's really great that everyone's sort of banding together. Hopefully they get a result that they're hoping for.
Definitely
a fair result.
Yeah, and definitely, hopefully that happens soon. In the meantime, we have great projects coming up for you. Like I said, I think everybody's excited for The Outlaws.
Yes.
July.
Love a good comedy on
7th.
Netflix. July 7th.
Everyone can watch on Netflix.
Yes, there you go. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. See you on the next trip.
Yes.